We're in the day.
And we're live.
Oh, hello.
Michelle is working her lights because she wants to make sure she's looking beautiful for everybody here. I am happy to see you all. This is going to be quite a treat. We've done face reading before. Now we're going to do a little bit of handwriting reading. And in preparation for this, I've asked people to submit samples. Most of them are correct. I think most of them have signatures. There might have been a signature left off of one or two, but I tried to make sure that I got that because I think, isn't a signature an important part of what you do?
Well, what a signature is, it's how you're showing the world who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you want the body of the handwriting compared to the signature. So,
Okay.
as I tell people, you never write a signature for yourself. I never go, I, Michelle Dresbold, want to go buy a potato. The only time you sign your name is for other people and how you want other people to see you. The rest of your handwriting is who you are really inside. So if the two look the same, then who you show to the public is who you are in private.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a declaration, I guess would be the term.
Right. It's your public image.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
different images.
I actually have a last minute submission that I'm scrambling to
Oh,
put
okay.
into our shared document here. And what have you been doing lately?
Well, I'm finishing up a novel that I wrote called Dagger Strokes, which
Is
is
this the Ripper?
about that. It's about It's a novel based on my findings of Jack the Ripper. I have to say, it's really good, but it's
Oh,
been
I
a
hope
tremendous amount of work.
it is. You don't really want to have a novel that you don't like.
No, I like it. People think writing a novel is easy. It is so much work, like night after night after night. And then after I thought I had it perfect, I looked at it again. I'm like, oops, I need to do this. So it's always like you think it's perfect. You look at it again and go, I think this section needs some work. So but I have to say, whenever it comes out, everybody will have to go buy it.
Mm, okay. I'm hearing there's an echo. Are you getting an echo from me? Let me
I'm
see.
not getting an echo. Are you getting an echo from me?
A little. I think it's probably coming through. You're probably talking into your computer microphone, which we can't really do anything about at this point. So that's fine. Okay. Now, you asked for, you kind of gave a little bit of directions on how you wanted the samples to be collected. Do you want to tell me exactly, what you were looking for? I know they were very loose, but kind of why you were looking for these.
What I asked for, I don't like people just to copy something because you need your own emotions in when you write. So I asked to write a Dear Michelle letter, a letter to me. Dear Michelle, whatever you wanted to say, if you had a question about yourself, to ask that question, use the letter I, meaning me, myself, and I, the personal pronoun I, several times, and then sign it. And that's what I had asked for. And I want to see everything, including how you write the letter I, because that's really important, how you sign it compared to the rest of the writing. And that's, basically all I need.
Well, I have some bad news for that. I think your illustrious host probably gave bad directions, and he
Oh,
didn't get
it's
the Dear
okay.
Michelle part.
My
Ouch.
illustrious host can do whatever he wants. I'll figure
So,
it out when I see it.
yeah, it wasn't quite as crystal clear as that. So let me go
That's
ahead.
okay. If someone writes anything, I can do something with it. So even if they just scribbled, I could tell it, or they make a doodle. I'll tell you all about them.
All right. Well, fantastic. If you're ready to roll, we'll go
I'm
get
ready.
started. Everybody, please go ahead and ask questions. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them or not, but this is interactive, so ask questions as we go. I don't have piles and piles of examples. I believe we have maximum 7 or 8, so there's enough time to leisurely go through it. And if you have a question on what she's doing, that's part of this experiment. So please feel free to ask some questions and we'll try to answer as we go. And we'll start off, and I'm going to zoom in to try to make this easier to read. This is from DJ or DK Me. Now, I don't know if everybody is able to make this live. I'm really hoping that most of you are live so you can kind of confirm or argue or say she's correct or not correct or anything else.
Okay, well, what I thought I would do tonight is actually not go into some deep analysis, but give a little lesson for everybody in the quote audience from what I'm looking at. And I'll describe it very clearly. So if you can't see it, I will describe it. Here we have a handwriting. It's very easy to read. The person wrote first, then upper and lowercase, and then all in uppercase. And then they signed their name in the middle of the page. When you have handwriting that's very easy to read, the person doesn't want to make anybody to misunderstand them. So that person is trying as hard as they can when they communicate to make things very clear. Now, the person signed their name smack in the middle of the page. When you sign in the middle of the page, what that means is you want to be part of, in the middle of a group, in a team, in a community, in a church, whatever it is, you are a team player and you will be in the middle, family, whatever. You're not there to be you just want everybody to do okay. And those are the people who sign in the middle. What's interesting about this handwriting is two things. The first one, I want you, when you have O's and A's are the communication letters. The clearer they are, the clearer somebody communicates, the less BS they give you. Nonetheless, they are a liar. If you look at this person's O's and A's, they're as clear and clean as they possibly can be. If I took this person and I made them lie, they would fluster and they would get really upset and they wouldn't want to lie to me. What they say is what they do. Now, this person, though, wrote in all caps, and I'm reading, I write interchangeably in both styles. And I think your name is DK. So when you write in all caps, what that means is don't know me that well. And also your signature, it's very difficult to read. Everything else is super easy to read. So you think very clearly, but the rest of you don't need everybody to know who you are, but you think very clearly, communicate. And when you write in all caps, what it means is I'm pushing a distance away. I really don't want you to know everything in my head. So as clear as you are, you distance yourself. Now, handwriting, we could go slant to the right, we could be straight up and down, or we could slant it to the left. This person's handwriting is straight up and down. Straight up and down, think of a soldier, straight up and down, very logical. Give me the facts. Let me be logical. Let me take care of what I need to take care of. And let me not get my emotions involved. And that is your straight up and down handwriting, like DK. Any questions if you're listening? You're interesting. I noticed that inside your name, I don't know if that's a D, whatever that first letter is, there's like interlapped letters, if you notice, and there's a little dot in there. And it's just very interesting that you can't read that name at all and it's interlapped.
Is this a sign of being slightly introverted? Like maybe wanting to be a part of the team, but not necessarily standing out in front of the team?
No. I'm sorry. Not necessarily. The handwriting is large. When you have large handwriting, you usually do not have an introvert. It's hi, here I am. I mean, I would even think this person is very athletic. It's a very strong writing. The person pressed really hard into the page. That's an intense person. When you look at handwriting, you could be real light. It almost looks like it's floating. And those are the people who are I'm meditating for 4 hours a day. Then there's the medium. Then there's the heavy one, like this one, where they write really heavy into the page. When you write heavy into the page like this, it's intense. When they do a sport, whenever, it's an intense, they put all their energy. So if you wanted somebody who you were going to be physically active with, I could pick this person. This is a strong, physically active person. But large handwriting like this is not introverted. It's actually more extroverted, even though the signature is, you don't need to know me, but I'm a lot of fun.
Awesome. Speaking of a lot of fun, Paul, I'm going to mutilate it. Mail Ardet. Thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate these super chats are wonderful. Thank you. And look, you win. Very insightful, very accurate.
Oh, good. DK, are you an athlete? If you can listen, can you hear me?
I'm going to go to the next
DK's an athlete. DK's an athlete. You don't have to. I'll
let you know. I'm going to go to the next one. There's always a delay.
Okay.
So then I'll catch up and just poke that in. John Paxton is next.
Okay. Now this is an interesting handwriting. And one of the reasons I asked to write a few sentences with the letter, the capital letter, meaning me, myself, and I, is because that's how you see yourself. Notice that there's 3 I's here, and there are 2. One is big. One is just the big one is first one is just a straight line. The second one is a little straight line, and the third one is a straight line with a top and bottom. What that means is John, I think your name is, John sees himself in different ways and isn't quite sure how to present himself. Am I this person? Like the first I is, hi, I feel real good about myself. The second I is, I'm not so sure. And the third I is, well, maybe I need to change a little bit. So when you see somebody and their eyes vary in the same, letter, paragraph, that means there's having a little bit of, who the heck am I anyhow? You wrote that this is hard to read, and it actually is hard to read. That's okay. Some very creative people, musicians, whatever, they don't have handwriting that you can read. So that's perfectly okay.
Didn't Van Gogh kind of have a similar style writing?
No, a little bit. I mean, it actually, in some ways, does look a little like Van Gogh's handwriting. It has, and John may have some motor control skill issues that he needs to always work on. And that's just a piece of who John is. John's signature goes uphill. So despite the fact that sometimes John may sometimes have, when it comes to learning stuff, might have to take 2 steps to get the answer. He's upbeat and positive and really goes, okay, I can do it and I feel good, but where somebody else is, John may just need, I call it, some people, when they study, they can learn it the night before. John needs to kind of go over things until they really register in his brain. And then that's the best way for John to learn. But John should do something a little fun and put music on and just be a little different than the normal everyday person.
Cool. Now, DK said that you're dead on.
Oh, yeah, so as long as I'm not dead.
Athlete too. And thank you very much, DK. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
DK's a member too, so I mean.
Oh, yay! Thank you, DK.
And John, please, feel free to jump in and let us know how she's doing, if you feel that way or not. What are you finding from his signature?
Well, it's an interesting signature. Well, we have I guess a J. It's a very different J. It's a little bit of a phallic symbol, so which means that sex sometimes is on his mind, but I'm not allowed to say that, but I said it anyhow. And I think what I like that signature because you always want a signature that goes uphill. It's a very positive self-image. And so I like it. It's different and it's unique, probably the same way John is.
Okay. Okay. So apparently he does have fine motor control. He solders and
Oh, good.
plays
Okay.
first-person shooters relatively well.
I figured he did something more creative. I mean, John is not the run-of-the-mill fit in with, I follow all the rules. He does his own thing. So
His wife says you're good.
I'm going to tell you a story. He said, my wife says she's dead on. Thank you. I once did an event, and at the event, people were, throwing their handwriting at me. And I described a bunch of people. And at the end, everybody, they were supposed to guess who I was. They all knew each other. They were all trying to guess who I was talking about. Everybody guessed everybody, except one guy. He came up to me after and he said, my wife knew when you described me that was me. And I didn't know me at all. Could you tell me about myself? So I found that very interesting. So John says, my wife says she's dead on. Thank you. And thank you, John. Thank you. And thank your wife. Thank her.
And you said the title earlier, but when is the book coming out again?
Well, I have, in fact, here, I have my old book, which everybody should get first, and that's
Absolutely,
Sex,
yes.
Lies, and Handwriting, and that tells you everything you might want to know or not want to know about handwriting and personality profiling. And my next book isn't, it's just I just finished writing it as of yesterday, so we'll see when it's not coming out. I hope it comes out soon, but it has to get to the publisher, and there's a big process that I'm ahead of me. But
so 2021, maybe early 2022.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I hope by the end of next year.
Okay. Well, next year's just around the corner.
Oh, then I hope at the beginning of next year.
All right. Next up, we have Helen, aka Beth.
We have Helen. Okay.
Yes, Helen.
I'm just looking a little closer. Okay, I'm just going to say thank you. I'm going to say one thing about Helen. I had my hair done today. Do you notice that when she wrote the word hair, she made a little circle dot? When you have a circle dot, what do you see? You see that circle. It means, it gives that writing a little attention. And it means that the writer would like some attention. I also find people who have circle dots sometimes like to be in theater, broadcasting. They like to talk in public, or they like arts and crafts. They're not necessarily your artists, but they're the people who enjoy making things. So Helen has that, look, I'm doing a great job. Notice me. So whoever's around you, say, Helen, you look great. I see you got your hair done. It looks beautiful. And I don't even know you, but I'm sure it does. So circle dots, you'll notice, I'm sure, Eric, if you meet a lot of different podcasters or broadcasters or radio personalities, often they have those circle dots. People just want a little attention.
Like a flourish almost?
Well, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Like a slight flourish?
Yeah, it's more like, I always think of that little circle for people who talk in public as a little microphone. But it's also people who might just enjoy a little attention and don't want to just be like an everyday person, have desire to just sort of stand out a little from the crowd. One thing about Helen, and I noticed it before, the letter I, it's just a straight line. It doesn't have an upper line or a bottom line. When you have a straight line like that, it means I am here and I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet. I'm not going to be dependent on somebody else, except she does have that other I. If you look at the second sentence, so I look fabulous, and I'm sure you do. So even though you like to stand on your own 2 feet, once in a while, you sure would like a little support. So that's what that other one means. And you kind of also a little bit go to your own drum. And if you look at Friends, it almost looks like a figure 8. When you see figure 8s in handwriting, Those are people who are fluid. They like dancing or ice skating, but they also like talking. And they like talking. Like somebody like Helen would do well talking in front of other people. So sometimes when you see numerals in handwriting, not exactly like this, you have somebody who really is into math and sciences.
All right, this is her husband. Spot on so far. She loves attention and used to act and dance professionally.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah. And I'll tell you, she would enjoy ice. I could see the ice dancing. And even that signature, when you look it up,
Like a
so
flame.
yeah. So yeah, Gavin, if you give her some attention.
Gavin, her hair looks wonderful, dude.
You look gorgeous, my darling.
All right. And by the way, the line across the top means
Oh,
nothing. But she and Gavin wrote on the same page, and that was nothing more than a separator.
okay.
So,
I didn't even really see that line on the top,
okay.
so I didn't put it into any analysis. So
Okay, I know sometimes that you have commented that an extra thing can have meaning, but in this case, I wanted to point that out that it did not.
okay. Well, luckily I didn't see it. So
All right. Now let's see. I gotta shift this one around too. And I think I saw Samantha is here. And I'm gonna have to tweak this one because she wrote it. She made use of real estate. So I can't blow it up quite as much.
that's okay. I mean, you can. It's fine. If one thing you'll notice in Samantha's handwriting is that her signature is pretty far down from the rest of the handwriting. She could have written it, as I tell people, hi Samantha, everything you write comes from your brain and you don't know you're making choices, but you choose. Why did she choose to write so far down from the body of the writing? Why do some people choose to write in the middle? Why does Samantha choose to write sign her name far off to the left? All of those are choices.
This may be a factor. When she did it, she didn't have her signature on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to check with her right now because I did see that she didn't have a signature and asked her if she could submit her signature. So is the placement of the signature because it was after the fact or is it a choice at the time? I'm not sure.
I would think if she did 10 of these, they would be pretty much in the same placement. I mean,
okay.
You still have that choice. So when you choose to write your signature far away from the body of writing, it means that you do keep a distance from people and maybe even from your past family. This handwriting is actually, in a way, very beautiful, but it's a little controlled. It's perfect almost. If you needed somebody who you wanted to run your office, to run a business, Samantha would be very good because she likes things in control. She'll keep things in order. There's no wavering in any of those slant. It's all very, very congruent. I would imagine Samantha's quite bright. And if you look at the second sentence, it says relies on 5 key concepts. If you notice 5, and in fact, maybe I'll have you do this before I tell you what it means, and everybody out there can do it. Try to cursive the word 5, everybody. Just pretend in your own handwriting, but cursive it if you can.
Yeah, I don't know how to do cursive.
Let me ask you a question. I'll ask you, Eric. Do it again, and I want you to tell me where you dotted the I or when you dotted the I.
Well, I can't write cursive, but I did it at the end.
Okay. Notice that Samantha, there's a little gap between the FI.VE. And that's because she dotted that I right away, and that's why there's that little gap between the I and the V. When you see that somebody whose brain is always thinking ahead, it's actually much faster to dot something early on than wait and go backwards. So you have somebody who's very, very bright. And so I'm just pointing that out. My 5 looks like fire. I noticed that. But and also in enjoy, I think it's the 1, 2, 3rd, 4th sentence. Enjoy looks like a backwards 3. You have those, and people who love like the opera, the theater, they enjoy the arts, and those type of things. So, but this handwriting that looks so perfect, you want your business run perfectly. You want things to be efficient. Hire Samantha. I could
All
use
right.
you. I need you.
So Samantha, how's she doing? And
I don't think Samantha, could I ask about Lost, Michelle?
this is Paul asking about
Oh,
loss.
if you lost, what do you want to ask about it? Just me to explain. I'll explain the lost. If you lost all your,
Okay,
oh,
the first
thank
thing
you.
you're
When she
saying,
wrote
sorry.
the word lost, her T is very simplified. And sometimes somebody who may be, and I'm just guessing at this is some things are like, yes, this is what it is. That T sort of looks like the way you learn in private school kind of T. It's simplified. She puts no extra junk in her handwriting. She gets it done.
F2
It's,
is the
yeah,
same.
it's as quickly as it can be done and as efficient as it can be done. So it wouldn't shock me if she went to some form of private schooling too. And she writes disciplined. She's very disciplined. So I need her. I need her with a whip saying, come on, Michelle, do this, do that. I'm like, okay. Oh,
All
I'll
right.
put out one other thing. Okay. In the
Yes.
last sentence, she writes, would people still follow you? Notice the top of the P's in people. It's very rounded. Now, some people make a P with a great big point, and some people make it very rounded. Samantha made her P very rounded. When you make your P's rounded, you try to please people. When you have a very big point on your P, it means you need to get your point across. And I can tell you a little story about that if you don't mind.
Of course.
I used to write my P's with a point, a great big point, and then the circle. And I knew it meant that you were argumentative and always needed to get your point across. Now, if you're an attorney, that can really work for you. But in general life, it can really get on other people's nerves, and especially in relationships. So I had this great big point. I got Michelle, like, why are you this argumentative? And I didn't think I was. I thought, no, I'm sweet, I'm nice. Well, I decided to be aware of myself because I had that point. And I noticed that when I talked, if somebody said it was green, it was fun for me to say it was blue because I enjoyed a nice little debate. And then I made a decision to change my P's to a peaceful P like Samantha does. And I would say to myself, I listen when people talk. And I go, oh, that's very interesting before I would respond or give an opinion. And I actually worked on changing my handwriting to change pieces of my personality that I didn't like about myself.
Okay. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's
You are too, Samantha.
all right. I got a couple more submissions that snuck in after the wire that I'll have
Okay. Who snuck in there, Hunter? Okay. Can we blow that up just okay. All right.
go.
Now, with this handwriting, and I think it's Eliza, when you look at this handwriting, the first thing
Before
I
we go,
see.
sorry, Samantha had a
I'm sorry.
question. No, it just came in. What does it mean if you do a full stop after your signature?
What do you mean by a full stop? A period?
Period. I think Samantha's British.
Okay. When you sign your name, there are people, they sign their name and they put a period after their name. And what that means is when I say something, I'm right, period. That can be good or bad. You can feel good about you. But if somebody signs their name and puts a period, and don't tell them they're wrong, because when they do it, it's done right, period.
So that goes
But
with the P then.
yes, but she doesn't want to argue, so she'll still try to please you. So
Okay, yeah.
let's go to
Please.
Eliza. When you look at Liza's handwriting, the very first thing, at least that I noticed, is that most likely, and in fact, I would bet very, 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 very heavily that she was born in another country. And I don't know what country you were born in, but it wasn't the United States. This handwriting, if you look at Am, it's very pointed at the top. When you have points, often you have somebody who's very likes to get to the point, likes to investigate. How do I get the answer? And I'm not willing to stop until I do all my homework to get the right answer. Now, Liza's very intelligent too, because she, if you notice that word, I don't even know what it is, live show. I can't read it. It's
Live
hard
stream.
to see.
What we're
Live
doing.
stream. She noticed that I right after that, there's a little gap. That means she dotted that I right away. Oh, she's Ukrainian. Okay. Now, well, I bet 99.99%. So, and so very intelligent. Notice that her O's and A's are completely looped at the top. There's no gap at all. Now, as I mentioned before, your O's and A's are your communication letters. Think of them like a mouth. If they're open at the top, that person likes to talk a lot. Hi, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. You tell them a secret, they can't wait to tell the next person the secret. When you have O's and A's that are completely closed like this person, if you tell her a secret, she will keep it until forever. And you would make a very good spy, so I could hire you as a spy. And also, when you look at handwriting, the left side of the page, or where we start in English at least, is where we start, and where we go to, the right side of the page is where our hand travels to. Left side past, right side future. If you notice things like forward and for and the, it angles backwards to the past. So that means certain things in the past were not always perfect or great. Angles are a little harshness, a little anger. So there's a little harshness of certain past experiences or life. And so that's what you see. But she does slant rightward, when rightward means a person emotionally who's putting themselves out for others and really needs to connect with other people. And I like the smiley face.
Well, she to give you a little bit of background on her, how do you like those little videos that have been going up that I've been putting up, previewing
Oh, I like those.
That's her.
Oh,
She's been doing them.
Yeah, you do
So
a great job. And we knew you were super smart. And see, if she doesn't know how to do something, I said she'll keep going. She'll do something really right until she gets it, and then she'll learn more.
Also very creative and fun. I
Yeah.
think of that smiley face as her kind of cheeky fun side that she definitely brings out in videos.
And I think the other thing, when you have a right slanted handwriting, as I said, it pushes forward emotionally. She knows how to make things connect to other people, reaches out and emotionally, not just logically connects. She can emotionally connect with other people.
All right. And Mew9 wants to know, how exactly did you know she wasn't from the US? Was it a subconscious pattern recognition thing, or are there specific tells? And while we're answering that, Lisa, please feel free to tell Michelle how she's doing and if she's accurate about all the other elements.
I'll answer the first question about how you can tell if someone who's writing is not from the United States. It's very similar to when somebody speaks. They can be here for years and years, unless they were born like here since they're 3 or 5. There's always a little, what I call an accent in their speech pattern. If you look at this handwriting, I call it an accent. The way the O's are made, there's a look about it that you don't learn in the United States. It's different countries like French, they have a different style. I can always tell if someone's Asian, like store is closed. I know if they're Asian. There's I call it an accent in their handwriting. And people sometimes say, well, Michelle, can you look at handwriting in other languages? And I tell them yes, because all the theories work in every language. And why do people from one culture sort of have similar handwriting? Well, we are a product of our background. So our culture, our background, our language, everything makes us us. So yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Eliza.
All right. And Christine had a question about it too. What about the double loops in the O?
Are we talking about in looking? What those are in her handwriting, it's that's what you learn. That's part of the cultural learning of that script in her background. But she stuck with it. And that is that closed over closed, meaning Liza will keep a secret. And if she knows how not to divulge everything, she will keep it. If she knows that she needs to keep something private, it is private. And that's an extra, I call it a lock on the mouth, an extra lock that she knows when she needs to be quiet and when she would make a wonderful spy. That's all. So and she's and notice also Michelle. I often use the word Michelle, Michelle, because the I is really early on. When a I dot is early on and the person dots the I right away, like she did here, that also shows intelligence and creativity. So yeah. But I mean, if you're out there and you want just a little bit of practice and enjoying, like learning faster, practice if you have a word when the I, like Michelle, is in the beginning. See if you can dot it right away before you write the whole word.
I will do that. Next up, we have Gavin.
Oh, hi, Gavin. I had a normal day just walking around looking gorgeous. Oh, I'm sure. And keeping myself out of trouble. No, you didn't. No, I studied a lot all day, but still, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Notice you don't read Gavin's signature either. I mean, as I said, you can kind of read Gavin's handwriting, but his signature, which means here I am. And it's sort of, he has a sort of an image he projects in public. Notice that his I, meaning me, myself, and I, that first one is really large. So Gavin has a very good self-ego. He actually knows he's gorgeous, which is quite great. His handwriting, frankly, is very masculine. I mean, very few women write like this. And so I would imagine that Gavin is he's a guy. And he's not always, the handwriting again is all capitals, even. And so he's somebody who keeps socially, he can be very friendly. It's big handwriting, so he's outgoing and friendly, but it takes a lot to really know what's going on in his head. He likes to move, that signature's fast. He also likes to move fast. He gets bored very easily. And so you need to keep him enjoying and excited and moving forward. And
you hear that, Beth?
You hear that? He doesn't like to fight either, though he will, but he doesn't like it.
Awesome. Anything else on Gavin?
I'm going to look real closely, so if I'm like right in the camera. Okay. He also, if you look at the word like walking and keeping, notice that his G is stylized, and it's actually quite, in a way, unique. So he took handwriting and made certain things fit another style. So there is a creative style in Gavin. He also likes to learn, and he wants to know very much, like that G, which can sort of go, it could look like a lowercase g, it could look like an uppercase. He wants to know what the meaning of things are, and he can look at something and interpret it in different ways and come out with, aha, I think this is the answer. So he does like to look at things and look at them in different ways and come up with an answer.
That's definitely Gavin, and he definitely likes learning. I
Mhm.
think you know Gavin.
I've never met Gavin. Do I know
Okay, well,
Gavin?
you've seen him around the boards because he knows all you ladies. He's
Oh,
very
okay.
deep in with you.
He always
Um,
gives us a thumbs up, so I'm
oh
like,
yeah,
yay, Gavin.
you definitely know Gavin. He's as a matter of fact, I think he's studying with Susan right now.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's
Okay.
always learning.
Oh,
And,
good. Well, you
and
know
he's a
what?
very handsome young fellow, as you can see.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I would imagine sports are important to you too. So, yeah.
Yeah, Gavin's a good bloke, I think they would say.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And we have Victoria
Oh,
Tregenza.
I think my writing is nice. Please don't tell me I'm a psychopath. You're a psychopath. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, this is Mark, Vicky's partner.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Okay, this is her partner. Yeah, she did say that, but I get
it
scrambled. Sorry.
is okay. I don't know what that is. Anyhow, let me just look at this. I'm writing. No, you're not a sociopath, psychopath, or so. This. Okay, and then there's a weird signature. Is that whose
I'm
signature?
sorry. Mark submitted this under Victoria's account. I apologize. So I just put up the name that I saw it come
Oh,
in
oh,
as.
so is this Mark or is this
Mark is Victoria's partner. So
okay?
I got confused and I put in her name because
So am I looking at Mark's handwriting?
you are
Okay,
looking at
that's
Mark's handwriting.
okay, because I'm
Yes.
so confused. Okay. Because I saw the M in the signature and I'm like, okay, I'm so confused. All right. In his signature, he has a little, I call it a top. It's like
Okay.
a little umbrella. That little umbrella is a little bit of a protective stroke, meaning I keep myself a little, I'm out there, but I keep a little protective umbrella around, no problem, no worries, a little protective umbrella around me. So when you see a line underneath a name, it means, hi, look at me. He has the line underneath his name, but he also has the umbrella on top of his name, which means, hi, look at me, but maybe I need to protect myself a little bit. So that's sort of, I find it interesting that your name, the first part almost looks like an NY, like New York. I don't know if you like New York, but there's sort of, it looks like the New York City thing. But
Yes.
anyhow, and Mark dots his I's fairly close to the stem. When you do that, the person is what I call a loyal partner. They don't like to stray or go too far from where they're supposed to be. So when you have somebody like this is Mark, the I dot is right above the stem. And that's like, I don't want to stray. I'm here. It's a sign of loyalty. So Vicky, you're lucky. And let's see what else we have about this. And he has that like peaceful P, the rounded P. So he ideally doesn't like fighting, doesn't like yelling. And the good part about that is that obviously you don't fight and yell, but sometimes somebody who has that peaceful P holds a lot in because they want to be the peacemaker and they never want to fight. So sometimes you have to express yourself instead of keeping it inside. But yeah, he's a nice, loyal partner. So good going. But whatever reason about protecting yourself when you see that, it's like kind of keeping yourself in a safe little cocoon.
Well, Victoria, is this all accurate? I've got to scramble and get the late submission done while.
Oh, okay. If anybody has any questions, that's too high.
Oh
Can't
no,
see
this
it.
one's That's mine.
Oh,
And
I
I
thought
had
that,
talked
you
about
know
that.
what? I actually thought that was yours. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, and we'll
Does
see if
anybody
we
have any
have time.
questions or anything? I'll answer them while we're waiting.
See if we have time at the end. I'm here for the audience. I'm boring.
Okay. And I'm having a little hard time seeing this.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sorry. It's a kind of
okay, I
oh,
can see enough.
Vicky
All
says it's
right.
true, by the way, what you said about
Oh, thank you. Let's just pick out one thing about this person. I don't know this person's name, but their initials seem to be MA.
it's
What does it
U9 is the user. I'm not sure the
it
hold on. I can
it
find
does
out.
it doesn't really matter. I have enough. Um all right, let's just start with the initials. So again, somebody has a choice when they write their name. Now maybe this person, obviously this is in front of maybe an audience, doesn't want to write their whole name. But I would
It's their
imagine,
name. No, they submit it. It's Mujtaba Alam.
okay, Mujtaba Alan, sign MA. Now
And I'm
again,
sorry if
you have a couple choices when you write your name. You can write your whole name, you can write it legibly, not legibly, or you can just choose to write your initials. When somebody chooses just to write their initials, and especially if they do this often, it's again, I'm giving you enough to see me, but I'm not giving you everything. So MA maybe in public, again, isn't going to say, ha, here I am, world, look at me, look at me. It's like, okay, world, I'll show you some of me, but I don't need everybody around here knowing who I am. I want a little bit, if not a lot of privacy. And I'm just going to see if I can see anything else. I would
can I ask a
imagine,
dumb question on that? Because I always have to ask silly questions.
well, I didn't hear your question.
No, I
Ask me.
wanted to ask if I could. Could it also be like I probably mutilated his name by saying Mujtaba Alam? If he has a difficult name to say, could he go by initials because that's just easier for people when interacting? Out of curiosity, I always wonder if
Um,
it's a cultural reason or things like that.
I would think the cultural reason isn't because it's a hard name to pronounce. He could have, again, it's choices you make. You could
Mhm.
call yourself Moo if that makes it easier. It's more that maybe the cultural name or the cultural difference makes, I'm going to call you Moo because I can't pronounce your name, Moo,
Mooch, I think he
Mooch,
goes by too.
a little uncomfortable exposing, and I don't even know if you're a male or female, exposing yourself to the general public because maybe you do feel a little bit different from the general public. So that could be more the cultural choice. And I'm just trying to look at this, and it's a little hard for me to see. Notice this handwriting.
Sure.
I actually probably think you're probably fairly good at math, even though I can't see it well enough. It looks like that kind of mathematical, logical type of handwriting. Notice there was something I just saw, and I and like I said, it's a little hard for me to see this because I'm staring at it. Oh, thank
I
you, Moo,
understand.
on the computer. But even it's very logical, straight up and down, very high upper zones, meaning the upper part of the L's, all those letters that go high, the T, the B, high, means that a lot goes on in Mooch's head and in the brain. So the thinking process is math, science, maybe even computer, figuring things out very logically, straight up and down, is where this person excels.
I think you might be on track from that reaction.
WTFFF. Do I know what that means?
What the FFFFF? I think you say I'm going to
We
take
won't
that
say it on the air.
exclamation that you nailed it. You were dead on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, I
And,
think this person's probably like brilliant mathematically. This is
and
mine.
Mark
Thank you. Oh,
from
thank you.
appreciates that. All right. Um, huh. Gavin pointed this out. See, Gavin's always learning.
Okay.
He likes the use of the top sentence from Moon 9 used deliberately because it uses every single letter of the alphabet.
Well, yes, I know people will do that because they want to give me every letter of the alphabet, but I always tell them not to do that because what I really want, and I won't look that much at that one sentence, is because that sentence, which of course is from Moo, who's this logical, mathematical, intelligent person who's trying to, give me all the facts. I try to look at the rest of it where they have to come up with something from their head. So, I like it. Moo says it's an expression of shock how accurate you are. Oh, thank you, Moo. I'm hiring you anyhow to help me with all my computer stuff.
Yeah, well, we're just filling out your whole staff here during this live.
All right, I do need a whole staff, so I've already picked a bunch of people here.
All right, he wants to thank you for the validation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being so nice and smart. I like you.
Sarah concurs.
Thank you, Sarah. So nice. Thank you.
Nathan, I believe she talked about this earlier, but it's essentially saying, "Look at me, I'm here."
Well, Nathan asked, what does it mean when somebody underlines their name when they sign? Now, I would tell everybody in your audience to do that. There's a few things you can do to help yourself. One simple line under your name means, hi, here I am. Look at me. I've done a good job. And I think that's a wonderful thing to do. If you want to give yourself a little boost of self-confidence, one little line. If somebody does 15 lines like that under their name, that means, look at me, please, please, please. But what you want is one little line under your name. And what that means is, I deserve a little recognition. And who doesn't? So I think it's actually a very positive, easy thing you can do to actually help yourself and give yourself some confidence.
And of course, Samantha wants to pick on me.
It's okay. You know what? I have never seen Eric's handwriting. When I saw it, I knew it was his.
All right.
I'm not going to be mean. Don't worry.
Here you are.
I mean, okay, my favorite teachers.
Okay, let me explain. This was actually something I did for somebody else a couple weeks back. And what was asked of me was to write essentially of a couple teachers in the past and to make sure that I lied somewhere in what I wrote as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably not going to, because I can't see without my glasses on, that with thing where and there's little teeny things. I'll explain it of where and I could probably figure it out anyhow. Who wanted to film me but didn't succeed? Probably did. Anyhow, I just thought I would give you a little bit of you. Okay.
Goody.
Notice that Eric's handwriting, it goes uphill. So he says positive attitude and a drive for success. And that is always good. The handwriting is very light. It's sort of ethereal, which means despite the fact that you are very logical because it's sort of printed, you're also a little bit, you have a spiritual side to you. And you think about spirituality and what life means and what purpose you have. You have, your handwriting is a little not connected. So sometimes you want to connect, but it's sometimes you on a personal level. Everybody has to give Eric a hug on a personal level. Sometimes you find it a little harder to connect. But notice that he, after the word else, do something else, he does a circle dot, which I'm not at all surprised because people who like to be on radio or do announcements or podcasts have those little circle dots like I explained before. And it's pretty readable. And so Eric is not putting on he puts on a great show for this podcast and video, but he doesn't put on a show for anybody. Who he is, what you see is who he is. He's who he is when we see him here. He's who he is when he goes home. This is who he is. And his eye is, again, just a straight line, which means, hey, if I'm going to make it, I'm going to rely on myself. And so that's Eric for you. So thank you.
All right. Well,
Any questions?
let me see. We had one here. There we go. One stroke signature or scribble.
Okay. If somebody just takes their name and goes,
that's what I do.
Yeah, I figured that. When somebody does that, that means they're not letting you know them. To the public, let's say Eric says he does that. It's like, hi, I talked to you at this, but none of really the public, they only get so much to know of me. Now, people say to me, well, I do that because I don't want anybody to forge my name. And what I tell them is, if you want your name to be forged, make it a scribble. It's the easiest name to forge. It's the hardest name if your name does get forged to prove in court that it was forged. So if you really want to protect yourself, and believe me, in this world now, and I go to court all the time, not with handwriting profiling, but with forgery detection and anonymous letter detection. And if you make your name a scribble, it's extremely easy to forge and very hard to prove it in court that somebody forged your name. So try to make your name more legible.
There we go. Gavin's building me back up there. Eliza.
Yeah, we do love Eric. He is a hero. Yay, Eric.
I write like Samantha's husband, all printed and spaced. When I had this looked at before, one thing that was pointed out was my E. That showed could be a marker of deception, I guess it would be said, or desire for privacy.
Are we talking about your uppercase E or your lowercase E? I'll tell you what your lowercase E means. Sure. My favorite. Now, I may not agree with whoever was here before. So my favorite, notice that his E is big. When you have a big E, you think of E meaning your ear. People who have big E's are very good listeners. His E's are actually quite big. She might have, or whoever else might have been talking about the E in English, but we only have one of those, and that is not a sign of deception. The E in favorite and E in teacher is a little large. It means that Eric really takes his time to really listen. So when you see somebody and their E's or their lowercase E is cut off, it means, I heard you, I don't want to hear anymore. When you have somebody and they have a big E like he does, it's like, my job is to listen to you. And that's Eric.
All right, I got Sarah scrambling to submit. Sure, if you have time for one more, Michelle, I can turn the phone
I have time for one more.
All right, you're on the clock, Sarah.
You're on the clock. 1, 2, 3.
Let me see if I can get the link here. I can put the link back in. The link is up higher. I don't know if you see it, but let me I apologize. I have to scramble to share this. Oh, here it is.
What did your teacher Pete teach you?
Oh, he was my debate teacher.
Yeah, he didn't teach you football, right?
You got it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I picked that out. I didn't want to right away say it, so I was like, oh, please let me. Okay, when you wrote that, if you notice something, and I'll explain how you know that Pete Cedel, he liked Pete Cedel. You liked him, right?
Yeah, I did.
Because he writes Pete Cedel's name very large. When you write somebody's name large, it means you care about them. And if you go home and somebody writes your name and they write your name teeny weeny, they don't like you. He writes Peter Cito's name large. He liked him. He taught debate. It looks fine. He was a part-time. All of a sudden, lifts a little bit up and gets a little bit darker. And then if you notice, football moves in a little bit. It's not in line with the he. It's like when you lie, you go, and then football moves over. So if we wanted to see Eric lying, part-time, he would tighten up and he would move a little like that. So I would always be able to guess. See, once you know how to pick somebody's lie out, so if you look at this, notice part-time, it's a little darker than the rest of the writing and up a little bit. And football is even moved in more than the he and the but. So that's where he lied.
Interesting. The other person actually had guessed it might have been here because my squirrely H. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Down below, right here, if you can see the mouse moving.
I don't see. Say what word?
Because of the who, that they weren't sure. They assumed that H was a little weird and it displayed like an emotional thing.
No, when you, in fact, it's one of the things I do. I look at confession notes, and we have them right on online pages. When someone lies, almost always it will not fall in alignment. It will get darker or lighter or tighter than the rest of the writing. So even without my glasses, which I should put on,
well, there you go. Oh, look at you. This is vanity. Could be.
Yeah, of course. But you would know that part-time. If you don't, I always tell people, like, take something, put it upside down, don't read it, and see where something is out of place. And that's where that person's lying.
All right. Where is it?
I'll leave my glasses on. Oh, I can see. No, I could see the whole time. It's
a miracle.
The thing about detecting lying, you really need to look at the little details of it. But frankly, even without my glasses, I could see part-time wasn't in the same writing, and that and I figured he taught debate, that all flows, but part-time, that gets tighter and football pushes over. And I sometimes teach how to detect lying through handwriting.
Nice. That is really, really awesome. See, you guys are getting a huge bonus here.
You're getting a bonus. Once I start, I can keep going. And once I got my lighting up, I could.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of glasses action.
Wow. Glasses. Oh, wait, a different analysis for everybody. I'm joking.
Yeah, there you go. All right, this is Sarah. I managed to see it come in. And okay, this is just, I guess she had to, move fast.
Okay, let's do Sarah. Notice that she writes a grand design. She does that figure 8 in her G. Likes numbers, like talking. I bet she's a very good writer. Is very good with words. She also does something else. Nobody's keeping gone, I think it is. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4 sentence. She takes her I dot and she dots her I, and it goes right into the end. So the dot of the I actually becomes part of the next letter. Those are people who love psychology, love good literature. They're very, very bright. They can see things faster than other people. That's why the hand knows how to connect everything. So I don't know if you ever do any writing, but if I were you, I would try to get into that, writing music, writing poetry, writing anything. But also I would think the love of psychology would be very interesting to you.
Awesome. Well, that actually brings us to the hour. And I think, yep, that's everything. Oh, shit, here we go. Wow, that's an interesting combination, Sarah.
Oh, see, what do you know? I said, but she should be a poet and study psychology. Well, you got it. You know what, Sarah? Sometimes people will ask me what they do. And I never say, well, I can't guess what you do. I can tell you what you should do and where you'd be happy. And if I saw this handwriting, I'd say you should be a writer, a poet, and you should do something with psychology. Well, yeah.
Looks like you
Nailed it.
nailed it.
Yay.
Oh, this is awesome.
You're doing exactly what's right for you.
That is so
Good
cool.
going. Good going.
It's so, so cool. Well, this has been fantastic, and perhaps we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it
This
again.
was
We had
fun.
fun. Next time, people can write me in with their problems, and I'll answer. Give them their advice and tell. I have this idea of doing something called the handwriting doctors, and I used to write a newspaper column about it. And people wrote in with their problems, and through their handwriting, I told them I helped them solve their problems. So maybe we'll do that next time.
All right, and you're still at MichelleDresbold.com, right?
MichelleDresbold.com. And my website's MichelleDresbold.com. And if anybody is looking for a really, really good book or a great Christmas present, Sex, Lies, and Handwriting, I personally would highly recommend it.
Ah, and anybody needs to hire a spy.
I might, you
Lisa
never
is
know.
available, but I really don't want you to hire her because she does really awesome videos, and
She's
I'm
too
very
good.
curious.
Maybe she can help me with my graphics. She's too good.
Well, folks, thank you so much.
My
If you enjoyed
pleasure.
this,
Thank you so much. I hope people
yeah,
enjoyed it.
all right.